Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and in this video, we're going to be comparing Visible to Verizon Wireless Prepaid. Now, by the time you're finished watching this video, you're going to know which of these two carriers is best for you. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is that Visible is owned by Verizon, and Visible uses Verizon's towers and network. So anywhere that you get Verizon coverage, you're going to get Visible coverage. And that's a great thing because Verizon has a reputation for having one of the best networks in the country as far as areas that are covered. Now, of course, there might be some parts of the US that don't have Visible or Verizon coverage, so you're going to have to go out on your own and figure that one out because I don't know where you live. But fortunately for me, I can literally see out the window here a 4G tower, so I get pretty good 4G LTE connectivity from my office. Now you might be asking yourself, why does Visible exist when Verizon Prepaid is already a prepaid carrier? Aren't the two redundant and don't the two compete with each other? Well, they kind of do. I mean, they all kind of do the same thing at the end of the day. It's a SIM card that you put in your phone and it gives you service. So in that sense, yes, they do compete. However, there are some major differences. The first difference is speed. Now with Verizon Prepaid, you're pretty much getting the best that Verizon has to offer as far as speeds go. And you'll see in my demonstration coming up in a little bit, but I consistently get around 80 to 100 megabytes per second download with Verizon 4G LTE, which is pretty amazing. Now with Visible, technically, and they advertise this by the way, so it's nothing that they're not transparent about, but with Visible, you are capped out at 5 megabytes per second. Now for my testing, I was actually getting around 5 to 6, so they were kind of going above and beyond their promise. But essentially your speeds are dramatically capped with Visible. So you're pretty much getting a watered down version of the Verizon experience. But the cool thing though with Visible is that you get unlimited data. So yes, you are limited by the speed of that data, but you can use as much of it as you want and there is no throttling. You get a consistent 5 megabytes per second forever, no matter how much you use. Now Verizon Prepaid is a little bit different. If you want to get unlimited Verizon Prepaid, there is an option for that, but that's going to be $70 a month compared to Visible, which is $40 a month. At the moment, there's only one configuration for Visible, and that's $40 a month with 5 megabytes per second capped out speeds, but it's unlimited. And for $40 a month of Verizon Prepaid, you get a data cap of 3 gigabytes. Now, if you want to get unlimited Verizon Prepaid, then you're gonna have to pay $70 a month. So that's dramatically more than Visible. Now, in my opinion, I think 5 megabytes per second, as long as it's consistently at that level, is pretty much good for the average consumer. Unless you're gonna be downloading large files and maybe streaming a bunch of videos in HD quality all the time over data, you might have some small issues with 5 megabytes per second. But I actually know a lot of people, and it's kind of sad, but a lot of people who have internet connections, like home internet connections, that are sometimes slower than 5 megabytes per second. So 5 megabytes per second isn't terrible, but of course the speeds that you get with normal Verizon 4G LTE are outstanding. Now the cool thing about Visible is that it's month to month, so there's no commitment of any sort. Now one of the other downsides with Visible is the device compatibility. So at the moment, you can use Visible with any iPhone that's compatible with Verizon, assuming it's not locked to Verizon, so any unlocked iPhone that's compatible with Verizon, and you can use it with the Visible R2, which is a new smartphone designed by ZTE. But if you want to use Visible with any other Android device out there, you're going to run into issues and you're not going to be able to use it. Now, I don't know when you're watching this video, they might have changed that because there's a lot of unlocked Android devices that are compatible with Verizon, so they'd technically be compatible with Visible. So it's definitely possible that when you're watching this, you can use your Visible SIM card with all kinds of different Android devices, but at least at the time of me filming this, you are limited to using your Visible SIM card with the Visible R2 and unlocked iPhones that work with Verizon. Now I have the best of both worlds. I have a Visible R2 that was sent out to me by ZTE for me to test out. And it's a great device and everything, but I also have an iPhone XS Max. And it was really easy to get Visible set up with the iPhone XS Max. I literally just stuck in the SIM card, went into the Visible app, got things going, and I was good to go. I didn't have to make any phone calls or anything. It was a super simple and easy process. And that's pretty much the same way that it is with my Verizon SIM that I normally use with my iPhone XS Max. Since it's activated, all I have to do is just stick it in the device and I'm good to go. Now to keep things fair, I'm going to be testing out both the Verizon and Visible SIM cards with this same device here. And unfortunately, I cannot test my Verizon SIM with the Visible R2. So we're going to be doing both of those tests on this one phone here. But in a separate video, I'll be testing out Visible on the Visible R2. So stay tuned for that. But let's dive in and do that comparison. Alright everybody, so here is my iPhone XS Max. And you can see here that we have Visible LTE running. So here is the speed test app. So we're going to tap on go. And it does say Verizon down in the corner, which I guess it just doesn't say Visible. It just says Verizon since we're running this on Visible, which is part of the Verizon network. Looks like we're kind of at the high fives right now for the download. Okay, so the download is 5.74 megabytes per second. Now we're doing the upload. And it's around the mid threes to high threes. Now it's into the fours. And it looks like 4.62 for the upload. So again, the download here is 5.74 megabytes per second, which is a little bit better than what's advertised by Visible. And the upload, which is 4.62 megabytes per second. And as I mentioned before, I literally have a 4G tower like right outside of where my office is. So I'm getting probably the best signal that you could possibly get. So I just finished up testing Netflix with the Visible network, and I can't show anything because I don't want to get in trouble, but I can show you a YouTube video. So I have it in 1080p right now, and it does look like it's having a hard time buffering the video. We're going to switch this down to 720p and see if that's an improvement. Now I'm going to try 480p.
We have the battery here, which
and it does run at 480p. So it looks like maybe we're limited here on the ability to stream HD video, and it automatically takes it down to sub HD quality. But really, I mean, that's pretty much fine for most people. I can't imagine that you need to have 720p or 1080p. It's kind of a nice bonus. But it looks like on YouTube, we are limited to 480p. And I'm not sure why, because at 5 megabytes per second, you could easily stream 1080p.
The lanyard, which is this really bold,
but this works well. It's buffering quick, so just keep that in mind. We're now going to put in the Verizon SIM card. Alright, so the Verizon SIM card is now installed into the iPhone. Let's now do the Verizon speed test. So we'll go to go. And we're at 73, 76, 84, 82. So we're in the high to mid 80s. So 81 is the official download speed here. In upload, we're at 20, 19, 17, 16, around that range. 16 right now, 17. And it looks like officially we have 81 megabytes per second download and 17.7 upload. So I probably don't even need to show you a YouTube test here, but I have it in 1080p and things are loading fine.
Everything that you need to know about this camera, so there are no surprises.
So just know there's no streaming limitations here with Verizon. Alright, now that we've wrapped up that comparison, I'm really excited to know what you think. Can you see yourself getting Visible, or can you see yourself getting Verizon Prepaid? I'd love to know. Now, for me personally, I think that for most people, as I said before, I think Visible would be ideal as far as the speeds go. I think the speeds are good enough for pretty much most people out there. So if you're really not sure which one's best for you, I would personally just go with Visible, try it out for a little bit. It's month to month, so you can always cancel it and switch over to Verizon Prepaid. So I would just do that because the savings are so huge with Visible and there really aren't too many compromises. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and I'll see you in the next one.